Welcome to the story world. Title: Two Frogs, the Deaf Frog. Once upon a time, in a forest far away, there was an army of frogs that lived in a pond, happy and free. In that group, one of the frogs was deaf, but was never grumbled or frustrated about it. The frog was happy, upbeat, and very active. One fine day, the army of frogs took a tour around the woods. While they were hopping around, two frogs, including the deaf one, fell into a well. The other frogs realized that the pit was too deep and there was no hope of getting out of it alive. The two frogs in the pit were as good as dead. The two frogs inside the pit peered around but were unable to find a way out. The one frog said to the other, "Let's jump out." But the other frogs screamed and asked them not to. "You'll die if you try to get out." The frogs screamed repeatedly. The two frogs in the pit ignored the frogs above and attempted to jump out of the pit. The frogs above continued to scream and stop them, but all in vain. Finally, one of the frogs listened to the frogs above and was terrified and decided to give up. Due to the stress and anxiety of the frog's negative comments, he collapsed and fell to his death. The second frog continued jumping as high as possible. Seeing him jump, the frogs above yelled at the top of their voice to stop him, as he would meet the same fate as the other frog. After jumping again and again, the deaf frog finally made it out of the pit. "Why didn't you hear us?" the frogs asked. The deaf frog replied that as she was deaf, she thought that they were encouraging her to leap with all her strength. The other frogs were astonished hearing this, and the deaf frog hopped away smiling. Moral of the story. The moral of the story is to be careful with what you say, to ignore negative comments, and to focus on your goals. People's words can have a big effect on others' lives. Think before you speak. The Two Frogs story teaches us that we should be deaf to negative comments if our aim is to reach our goal. For more videos, please subscribe our channel.